And as we know, today is International Day for Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, as well as the anniversary for the Health Medical Rehabilitation Initiative. Today, right here with me is a very honorable personality, doctor, a consultant psychiatrist. In fact, he's a model. He has set the pace for prevention of drug abuse. He has done incredible things. I want to welcome Dr. Casey Okonoda.
Thank you very much, Honorable. It's nice to be on this part, on this side of the interview, being interviewed today by you. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
All right.
So how do you feel today? You look, your parents look cheerful.
All right. Let me first of all say that I thank the Almighty God to be alive. The gift of life is always something to be cherished. So I don't believe you know that I'm always appearing like this.
Yeah.
Maybe the time is different for today. Are you getting me now?
Yeah.
But today is also a special day. It's the International Day in Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking celebrated all over the world.
Yeah.
And for us as a network group, today is also the day of our NGO, the non-profit side of our organization, Network Rehabilitation Initiative, that we use to train people who are outreaches and all that. So today is the anniversary of that entity. Because when we look at our certificate from Corporate Affairs Commission, they are 26th of June. So that's why we are very happy. And our Network Medical Services and Rehabilitation Center, the issue of drug abuse, drug dependence is paramount in all the things we do. Because we see people that have mental health challenges to look them is the rehabilitation center. So today is extremely important to us. And since the inception of networks group as well as medical services, and then of course the rehabilitation initiative, and we're celebrating that day every year. And this year is not an exception.
You're welcome, sir. You know, I mentioned you being the consultant psychiatrist.
Yes.
You know, pardon me, I didn't mention that you are the CEO of the Network Initiative and the Rehabilitation.
Yes.
So being the CEO, how do you feel having a coincidence, the International Drug Abuse Day and your industry?
All right, I think it's divinely orchestrated.
Wow.
Because what we just did was to just apply to Corporate Affairs Commission so that when we initially applied, when we put Network Rehabilitation Initiative, they sent back to us to say network sounded like the name of a business entity. So we wrote back to them and said, yes, there's a network consult, but the Network Rehabilitation Initiative is going to be the non-profit part of network consult, so that we'll be using it, the parent company will be using it for non-profit outreaches, trainings, and all those kind of things. So it's going to be like the corporate social responsibility arm of the group. Within 24 hours, they approved it. But by the time they now presented our certificate, we saw that it was 26th of June. So it's a divinely orchestrated event. Yes.
Divine orchestration.
Yes.
That's so wonderful. So back to the International Day for Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Can you tell us more about drug abuse, illicit trafficking? What's it all about?
All right. The International Day against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, it was in 1987 that the United Nations General Assembly actually started that day, and it is to bring awareness to the issue of drug abuse as well as illicit trafficking. Now, when we talk about drug abuse, usually they use that word to cover all the range of issues that are happening with drugs. So, drug abuse, if somebody, let's start with the common general one, like somebody today now, we had to collect many of the drugs that she was using prescribed by herself, for herself, with herself, and all that. So we discovered that she has been taking drugs without doctor's prescription. She doesn't even, she wants to use drug per symptom. That's drug abuse. Are you getting me now? If somebody has been treated by a doctor and then is using the drug beyond the time prescribed for the person, that's drug abuse on the general level. However, when we talk about drug abuse in this context, we are talking about abuse of psychoactive substances. Psychoactive substances that can affect the brain and the central nervous system, causing changes in the mood, in the thinking, and the behavior of the individual. So when people use such psychoactive substances in such a way, some are used for recreation. Things like nicotine, that's cigarette, things like alcohol, they are illicit, they are accepted as legal drugs that you can use for recreation. But many people don't consider them as, don't think of them as drugs, but they are drugs. But when, in this context, when you now say drug abuse, when you abuse those things, you are abusing drugs. But then, when you now talk about either prescription drugs, that have psychoactive psychoactive activity, or drugs that are not illicit, that are regulated, that are illegal to use, things like cannabis, things like heroin, things like cocaine, amphetamines, and all that. But remember that some of these, like tramadol, pentazocine, those are opioids. They are prescription drugs. Doctors use them. However, doctors usually prescribe things like tramadol in the dose of 50 milligram or 100 milligram. But people that are abusing them will be using them 425 milligram in one tablet. You understand? So that is drug abuse. So when people use drugs like that, beyond what is prescribed for them or to get high for one reason or the other, those are drug abuse.
I really feel enlightened. This is very, very clear.
Right.
So you mean if I take medication, if a person takes medication outside prescription, so even Panadol too could be...
Panadol could be abused.
Wow.
Because if you see that when you go to the doctor will tell you, take paracetamol 2 times, 3 times in a day, maybe for 3 days. If symptoms persist, consult your doctor. You remember?
Yeah,
even when people talk about malaria drugs, even in the adverts, those are drugs that anybody can just go and buy over the counter, even. But then they will still say if symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Or whatever. So, meaning that even paracetamol, for those of us who are doctors, we know the damage that paracetamol can do in quantities or when it is abused. So, there is a guideline for every drug, and every drug can become a drug of abuse if people follow those guidelines. But more importantly are the drugs that cause change. You understand? In your mood, in your thinking, in your behavior, because they affect the central nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Viewers, I hope you're listening. Every drug could be a drug of abuse. So if you watch what the kind of drug you use and how you use it. Sir, can you tell us more about illicit trafficking?
Okay. Now, when we talk about illicit trafficking, because I'm a doctor, that is usually not my primary purview. That's what we call supply reduction. Illicit trafficking is many a times in the purview of the law enforcement, NDLEA and all that. But what is illicit trafficking actually? Illicit trafficking is when attending to drugs. For example, we have amphetamines, like I told you. Amphetamines are drugs that we use for many reasons. One of the things we use amphetamines for is what we call attention deficit hyperactive disorder. We can use amphetamines. But in this case now, people now will take amphetamines and be using it as drug of abuse so that they can get high. And when people use those kind of drugs, sometimes they have hallucinatory experiences and they'll be talking out of point and all that. But the illicit trafficking part of it now is that people are doing it not according to the legal channel of regulated drugs, but they are doing it in the black market, secretly, swallowing it, carrying it in their body, all those kind of stuff. That is the illicit part of it. And then there are certain drugs that should not even be are not to be carried at all, like cocaine. In whatever quantity you carry cocaine, you are trafficking because it's not a drug of recreation. It's not a drug that is license for nutrition. You understand? So what happens now is that people cultivate those drugs. For example, cocaine comes from coca leaf. Coca is cultivated in South America. So then they will now harvest it, process it, and then the more they process it, the more it becomes strong beyond the one that the farmer planted. And then, of course, sometimes they add other things to it so that it can be strong enough to cause those changes that we talked about, get people getting high, and then they will now sell it. So they want to, for example, they want to take it from South America, instead of going directly to Europe, they will come through Africa because it seems as if our alertness is loose, isn't it? Not as sharp as those countries. So they will carry it through and then on the way to Europe. Now, before, people will say, oh, they are just trafficking through Africa. But in the process of trafficking, some stay behind. Yeah. Some people exchange it and all this time. So it's a huge business and it damages lives. And so it is something that governments are fighting against. Unfortunately, the people who are doing the trafficking, they are very big and huge. It's huge business because if somebody has like a bag of cocaine, that would be huge money. In fact, some people will tell you that, oh, you can manufacture amphetamines in just like a sitting room of a house. It's enough to be a place to manufacture a lot of amphetamines and all that. So the trafficking is huge business.
Thank you very much, sir. Really enlightened. Viewers, I hope you're following and you're really understanding. To the layman outside there, perhaps you've been thinking trafficking could be just the traffic light you see on the road, or you're wondering what is actually trafficking. But right now, I'm sure you're enlightened that it's more than just those traffic light signs, but rather it's about what? It's about harvesting, it's about growing drugs, growing different kind of substance and selling it and using it for business gain. This is really amazing. So I don't know, looking at this, the money involved in this, don't you think people will want to continue doing this for the money's sake?
Yes. That is actually the essence of it all. It's usually about money. But like we say, blood money, money that is dedicated on destroying people's lives. The interesting is that sometimes the big barons that are behind drug trafficking, they don't even use drugs. Because they need to keep their heads together. They don't want to be under the power of anything. For them, it's purely business. So what happens is this. Sometimes the value of the substance will have multiplied like 1,000 times before it gets to the end user. So the farmer that is even planting it does not earn as much like the people who are carrying and distributing. So it's big money, it's big business. For you to know that even sometimes, like what happened in Colombia, they are so big that they even sponsor people to go for elections so that they can control government. They will bankroll people's campaign and so on and so forth. So it's big business.
This is great. You know, today International Drug Abuse Day and Illicit Trafficking, the theme for the day is Stop Stigma and Discrimination. So how can we stop stigma and discrimination in Nigeria as well as globally?
Alright, so stopping stigma, the first thing to note is that stigma is very debilitating, it's a bad thing. Stigma is such that it labels the person that is having the condition. It's like putting a mark. Let me tell you what I mean. In this day of slave trade, what happens? When they buy a slave, they will put a mark on the slave, a burning mark, to say, you are my property. So stigma is like you are putting a mark on somebody based on the condition that the person has, to say, oh, this person is not one of us, is not good enough to be part of us. Do you understand? That is the concept of stigma. Stigma is discriminates, it isolates, it takes away the dignity of the person. Sometimes they describe the human being according to the condition. So it makes people not to want to come forward for treatment. Because, for example, when you say that one is an addict, do you understand? Instead of you to say, oh, this person is addicted to this substance, you say it's an addict. So once the moment you say, oh, this one is an addict, everybody around, in fact, sometimes people think in terms of, oh, you will be walking the streets, you cannot be trusted, I cannot give my daughter to him in marriage, I cannot employ him for work. That is stigma. So it takes away, it strips the dignity of that human being. And it doesn't look at the issue like sickness to be treated for the person to get well. Rather, it isolates the person, it downgrades the person, and so on and so forth. And now, many people don't want to comfort. Nobody wants to be seen as bad, as lesser than other people. Nobody wants that. Everyone wants to be have dignity. So when people have this substance abuse, many of the time, people see them as criminals. People see them as moral failures, as in a very religious environment like us, like people who are irreligious or not following the religious dictates and all that. And so they hide to do it, and when they do have complications, they don't want to come forward to be. They don't want to come forward to be treated, because even sometimes the medical people, the health workers, and all those things, they still, the way they look at them, the way they talk to them, they remove their dignity. That is stigma. Yes.
Stigma can be so devastating.
Yes.
And I imagine a person losing his identity because someone somewhere has attacked with a particular kind of problem or disease. Thank you so much, Doctor. Being the CEO at Net Health Rehabilitation Center and initiatives over the anniversary today, can you tell us how have you been able to tackle issues like this? I know you have a lot of experience, you've treated a lot of cases. If we were to ask you of your success story, I'm sure we'll not leave this place right now. So can you tell us how do you tackle some of this?
Some of
issues of stigma.
Of stigma.
On clients.
Yes. One of the first things that we do is, even when people bring their loved ones to be treated, the way we interact with them, with their presence. For example, sometimes people will say, doctor, don't mind that boy, don't let him deceive you. He's a very bad boy, so you have to handle him with very strong hand. I will tell them, but you have been handling him with strong hand, not this one. So if the strong hand could solve the problem, you should have solved the problem. So in this place, we handle them with empathy. We handle them like human beings. And when you get to our center, you see that we made it like a house. You will not see it like a rehab. It's a rehab. A rehab is a place where people come, get treatment for their illnesses, and then they will be able to get reformed, refined, and then to get integrated to society. So you will not see the mindset that a lot of people have about rehab. Based on some of the documentary that was done about the legal places that call themselves rehab, where some of them, they change them, they put them together, and they put them like sardines, they put like prisoners, and all. No. So you will see that in our place, we set it up, there's TV, there are games, we do it in such a way that when anybody comes, you see them with the staff, there's no difference, because the staff are multi, it's a community, they interact with them. So many of the issues that they have, we make sure that we solve it, and we follow them, help them to get those things solved. Do you understand? So the dignity in which we address them makes even their loved ones or the people that bring them to know that no, you cannot continue to stigmatize these people. Are you getting me now? And then the success stories that we have had, sometimes we bring people who have gone through it and they have done well to come and talk. Sometimes we bring people to speak like in HIV AIDS when people say I'm positive, I'm living positively. We have treated doctors, we have treated nurses, we have treated lecturers, accountants. Anybody and everybody can. So that is one of the ways in which we address stigma in our own local environment. However, this thing what we are doing now is one way of stopping stigma. We also have a program on TV, though the PRTV is on strike like every other worker or Plateau State employment. But one of those things we do there is to educate people. The more people are educated about substance abuse or drug abuse and know that it's an illness and not spiritual attack, not moral failing and all those kind of things, the more people know about it. And then they see people who are treating them or some of them who have been treated coming out, the more they are able to be more accommodating to them.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
In fact, your statement of mental health being the family, I would say I'm attesting of that.
Okay.
Because you can barely identify or differentiate who a client is, who a worker is in the center. In fact, if the relationship is cordial, you could see a familiar way of living, and it's a very good effort. You've done the great work, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll be back to our top, the International Day for Drug Abuse.
Against drug abuse.
Yes, against drug abuse. Sir, can you tell us the impact of drug abuse in the society?
The impact of drug abuse in society is very huge.
Wow.
We can look at it from the impact on the individual. Then we look at it on the impact of other people in the society. When you look at the impact on the individual, the first thing is that it affects, being a doctor, I will always look at the area of health. It affects the health of the individual negatively. And that will start from physical health. Like people can start having loss of concentration, memory problems, their mood will change. We'll get to the mental health problems later. But a lot of people, they can even have hypertension, cardiomegaly, their heart will be affected negatively. They may lead to heart failure. Some people have cancers of the lungs. Are you getting me now? Of the throat and all those. Are you getting me now? Then people have liver problems. Especially people that are using substances. Because the liver is the one that breaks down the chemicals that the body takes, drugs and other chemicals. So by the time somebody is taking substance, is overworking the liver. Even the kidneys can have problems. Even the genitals, there may be infertility, may reduce production of the spermatozoa, and so on and so forth. So there are so many things. For example, even people who sniff drugs, there can be penetration of the septum of the nose. Some people have problems with their teeth. Are you getting me now? So physical problems all over the place. And then there will also be mental health problems, because those are some of the complications that arise from the use of substances. So people can have all the syndromes, mental health syndrome. You know, a lot of people think mental illness is one illness. It's not one illness. Just like you can have physical illness that is malaria and typhoid, diabetes and all those things. In mental illness, you have many, schizophrenia, bipolar, and so on and so forth. So people may have any of those syndromes as a depression. In fact, depression is the commonest mental health complication of substance abuse. And so, but beyond that health issue, there's the social issue. Because road traffic accidents will occur more with somebody who is under the influence of substances or drugs. You understand? And so, then all this issue of violence, robbery, a lot of them, because of the addiction they have, they get involved with petty stealing, and then they can even go and end up become robbers. Even though these insurgencies, many of them use drugs. So all these things, then in terms of the family of the individual, People can have problems with their spouses, intimate partner violence, lack of provision, because what that thing does is that it takes away all the person neglects other forms of recreation. So the person will be funding the habit and will not have enough money for his or her family. Then it takes away their attention, it takes away their patience. They are not able to be fathers or mothers to their children. And of course, a child that is coping with that kind of thing, that's maternal deprivation, paternal deprivation. The person will have traumas and then will carry it even to old age, to adulthood, and will not be stable. So not to talk of legal issues, occupational issues, they are not able to hold down a job, they will not be able to get a job, people will discriminate against them even when they get a job. So you can see the impact on society. It's my right.
This is so explicit. I hope you're really following this because I'm so enlightened here. In fact, Doctor, you've done an incredible job here.
Thank
you so much. Before we continue, this reminds me that on the 3rd of July to the 8th of July, we'll be having training, and this training is going to be done by the consultant psychiatrist himself. And hearing from him and listening from his abundance of knowledge, I'm sure you will not want to miss that training. I want you to put in your resources. Imagine just some of the things he mentioned. If he was to mention all of these things, I'm sure you will not want to just miss out in any of this. So I urge you, I encourage you, find the time. It's better you prevent it than trying to cure it. As it's always said, prevention is better than cure. Invest your money on mental health. Invest your money in this training, and you see how you help the society, you help your family, and you yourself too will be helped as well. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time.
You're welcome.
So as we continue, we've talked about illicit trafficking, and when you were talking about the money that these people make, presently in the economy we have economic challenges. Can this money be impactful to the society? Making that kind of money, can we really see the impact of that business in the society? Although we know that what they're doing is wrong, but can we see the impact of the income in the society?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that people who use that kind of money, what they get involved is money laundering. So what do? They launder their money, make it clean. So they want to invest in other businesses to cover up.
After you said the blood money.
Yes. But the lives of people are being destroyed. And the economic damage that they will have done by destroying the life of youths who are the economic power of any nation in terms of their age brackets and all these kind of things.
Of tomorrow.
Yes, so these people will now find it difficult to get a job. They will find it difficult to be okay for their family. So even when people are laundering the money, for example, let's say 10 people life have been destroyed in quote. Then they employ 4 people in their business. It's
still not good.
No, it's not good. It's not good at all.
So you're telling us that doing this particular business doesn't give you the mind to invest it on good things because the source itself is really
well, a lot of people that are doing it, they don't think of the mind of anything. They go and the truth is that they front with good business. That's laundry. When you say you take your clothes to the laundry, you are washing your clothes.
Yeah.
So they are washing the money.
They
are cleaning the money. They are taking blood money and changing it to be good money. So they may set up good business to deceive. Are you getting me now? But the blood money is, and the lives that are affected negatively are there. So that is
knowing the havoc that drug abuse have done and illicit trafficking has done, can we say that these things can be completely eliminated in Nigeria or even globally?
Well, one of the things I used to tell people is that the desired thing is to eliminate it, but it's almost impossible. Because if you look at the world on a general level, God is the Almighty, but evil continues to triumph, and He has the power to eliminate it. But one way or the other, that's not how society works. That's not how. Are you getting there? Will always be one person. If Lucifer could deceive 1/3 of the angels in heaven, 1/3, 1/3. So there will always be one person or the other who will go in that way. But what we do, what we are focusing on, is the demand aspect of it. What do I demand? The young people who are victims, not only young, but individuals, because old people also can be victims. They also use drugs and all that. But so we focus more on prevention, treatment, rehabilitation, and aftercare. So we are saying it is easier to take this thing as public health challenge, because those people who are dependent on these things, are you getting me now? They need to be treated rather than criminalized. So when you treat them and you let them know the dangers and take them through proper rehabilitation and they don't go into it again, you also try to make them into advocates. That's also why we are doing the training. So it's very difficult to say you want to get that a drug-free society, that there will not be drugs at all. Because there's one person there now who maybe is a seeker, but because of use of pentazocine and so on and so forth, and then the euphoria that comes from it, the emotional whatever is getting dependent.
So we cannot be completely
you cannot. It's an utopian desire to say drug-free society. Are you be able to say robbery-free society? You know that kind of.
Yeah.
But you are concentrating more on the things you can affect.
So you rather control it.
Yes.
And bring forth preventive measures. I hope
Yes.
you're really listening, viewers. Sir, could you tell us a little about this trade test? Because you are the person doing this training, and it's a privilege for us to have you here.
Yes.
Can you tell viewers more about this training so they can, it's sweeter in the horse, it's not. Yeah.
Oh, they are not the horse.
You want to be the horse.
All right. So this training we call it recovery coaching training. So the reason why we call it recovery coaching training is that in the treatment system, you are supposed to have a specialist rehabilitation centers, addiction and inpatient treatment at the apex, just like our center. It's not everybody that will have the money to be able to come there. Then you can have the secondary one where it's short stay, are you getting now? Then in the community, then the recovery, such that, let me tell you what that means. It means that people in the secondary school, their teachers will be able to detect who is using substance and be able to nip it in the bud. A clergyman to be able to know that, okay, this my parishioner or member is using drugs, and to be able to counsel them and nip it in the bud. In fact, there is something we call brief intervention. Are you getting now? Yes. Brief intervention, where you see somebody and immediately you educate him, you show him, and you take him through certain counseling within few minutes, and you get him to get better. So that's why it's coaching, not therapy. Therapists will probably be a professional like you and I, who have gone through years of training to be a psychologist, to be a psychiatrist, to be a clinical therapist, or whatever. Are you getting me? But anybody at that level can go through this training. They will go through the process of screening, assessment, and treatment planning. It's an international curriculum that have been used. Are you getting me now? That we want to use for people. But we have used that training at different fora, even with UNODC and so on and so forth, training people that have NGO, youth organizations, doctors, pharmacists, and so on and so forth. But the idea is many people actually have interest in being able to help others. But they cannot go to school and become psychologists like you, or to become psychiatrists like me. Are you getting me now? And all that. So we can train them. Many people already have what they call rehab. They are just using faith-based, reading Bible and all this kind of. So we give them the professional one so that they can use it along with whatever they are using before and be well trained. And so we will now form a community. Somebody just called me now that wants to come for the training, sending somebody who is also a health worker for the training, so that what they are doing before they can strengthen it. You understand? And so on and so forth. So that is the essence of the training. The training actually is an intensive one. Usually we have it throughout the week, 9 to 5. Are you getting it now? So we want to start on Monday and finish on Friday. But by the time we take you through the training, you will be able to understand what addiction is, and then even the ethics, how to treat them, how to get them to cooperate with you, looking at different areas of their lives, how to do assessment and treatment planning. Because treatment planning, people say no to drugs, say no to drugs. So if everything we do in treatment of people with substance is to say no to drugs, that's how no. So we take you through what it takes. The treatment planning, we plan all aspects of their life. Do you understand? Yes. So all those things, that's the training. And the training is we are just collecting some of the token, 30,000 naira.
That's kind of
29,000 now, 99.
With a discount.
So, and with that, of course, we'll give you a certificate. It doesn't say you are the certificate is not a license. Like I am a doctor, you are a psychologist that's licensed to practice. It's not a license. It is to certify that we are taking you through this training, and this is what we taught you there. It's an internationally recognized curriculum that we're going to use, and we're going to put it there that this is curriculum. So anybody all over the world can see that you have gone through it. And of course, our logo is going to be there, our contact is there, so that everybody can contact us to say, oh, you train this person. Yes, we train this person.
I really applaud your efforts, sir.
Thank you very much.
Doctor, you've done a great job. If viewers, if you're actually listening to him, it's for everybody. It's not relegated to professionals or a particular set of people. He mentioned the clergymen, he mentioned teachers. Perhaps you're a businessman and you're saying it does not apply, it also applies to you even as a businessman, a farmer, whoever you are, whatever profession, as a family member, even as a father, a mother.
Yes, parents.
Yeah, parents, you could do that. And you could, the price is a token. Imagine giving this token compared to going into the treatment for rehabilitation. I think you would prefer to come for the training, right?
Yes.
Because it will save you a lot of money for rehabilitation.
Yes. When somebody knows what to do, and that's, when you need something in the world, it's better than, they say prevention is better than cure. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
That amount that we are talking about is a fraction, maybe a few days of treatment. In fact, in some places, it's not more than 1 day. The cost of 1 day. It may not be up to the cost of 1 day.
It's like an outpatient.
Yes, in a treatment facility. So, and this time around, we are seeing 9 to 5 for 5 days.
Thank you so much, sir. Doctor, I could see that you are so passionate about fighting against drug abuse to the extent that you have a rehabilitation center. I'm sure you have so many plans and goals for the rehabilitation center. When do you see the rehabilitation center in the next 10 years?
Wow. Number one thing is that I want to see, because our focus is on the lives, what are going. I want to see people who have gone through our rehab center doing great things in their families, in their professions, that they can easily, I want to see them being able to come out to say, I went through rehab. Because so that other people who are going through the same thing can be encouraged.
Yeah.
So seeing them doing great things, being captains of industry, maybe some of them get into politics, get into functional in the society, that's one thing. However, for the rehab itself, the truth of the matter is that right now, because of the economic situation and the level in which we are not able to help as many people as we would have wished to.
So you have a particular number, a vast number of
Yes,
people
so
you want to reach out to.
right now, we have only 14 beds. And recently, one international consultant that came to train us in the training I went to in Lagos, she was talking about maybe is it 114 or 140 bedded facility that she's managing in Qatar, made by the government of Qatar. And people don't even pay there because the government is funding it. So I want to see our rehabilitation center such that we'll be able to reach out to more people, have more beds, do more outreaches. Let that rehabilitation center be the rehabilitation center of preference for anybody that wants to go to rehab. A clean environment, an environment that lifts up the dignity of the people that we're doing the rehab for. An environment where even the staff, are you getting me now? Many of the staff that we have gone to higher things, and every time they want to point back to us to say, oh, we train them. But that is a good thing, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But however, I want to be able to retain top-notch staff and be able to pay them big money too. Those are some of the dreams that we have.
So permanent staff.
Yes, that they will not be tempted by bigger money because they are getting living wage, not managing. Do you understand?
Yes.
Those are some of the things that we are thinking for the rehab, and we have serious faith in God that it will come to pass.
I really like it. The way you are, I'm just saying, during the Mind Wealth program for living last week, one of the alcohol mentioned seeing network globally, internationally. So right now as you're explaining it, I could see it internationally. I could see that picture. In fact, I'm sure you're going to get it there.
Thank you.
We're going to be there by God's grace.
Amen.
Viewers, I'm sure you're still there. I want you to send forth your questions. I'm sure you will not want to miss this wonderful host here. So you can send in your questions. You will want to hear from him directly. You want to know more from him. You are free to send in your questions. And he'll be right here to get back to you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
You've talked about stigma, but we've not talked about discrimination so far.
Okay.
So how can we talk about discrimination in regards to drug abuse?
Well, discrimination is an integral part of stigma. So discrimination means that you class the drug user into a mold to say, oh, this one cannot do this. For example, somebody says, oh, because this person has gone to rehab, I will not rent my house to him. You are discriminating against him. You say, oh, he's a drug user. But somebody else came who is not even ready to pay as much money. And you say, oh, this one is okay. You are discriminated against the drug user. Are you getting me now? Some people, when they are feeling form, maybe to go abroad, you have to declare, have you used drugs, have you been treated them? You are discriminating against them already. Are you getting me now? So discrimination means you are separating them, you are denying them fellowship with you, everything that should be available to everybody will not be available to this person because he uses drugs. No. In the best scenario, you talk about, okay, the person gets treated. But it's not even everybody that uses drugs that is a problem. That's the truth of the matter. A lot of people use drugs recreationally, including the one that we call hard drugs, and they don't have any problem. So it's only the ones that have problems that, and even when those ones have problems, you shouldn't discriminate against them. They have a right to health, right to treatment. They should be treated It's a chronic relapsing disorder of the brain. So people should not be discriminated against.
Thank you so much, sir. I wish we could just continue this discussion. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enlightened here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
It's an honor, a privilege for us to have you here.
Thank you very much.
To hear from you,
Thank you.
from your wealth of experience and the knowledge you've acquired. We're so grateful, sir. Thank you for your time.
And I want to thank you also for being a part of the network team. Because a lot of people are also happy about the work we are doing as a team. Not as I am the arrowhead.
Yeah.
So by being the arrowhead, all the accolades I'm getting it on behalf of everybody. That's the truth of the matter.
Thank you so much, sir. Do you have one word for viewers while we wrap?
Yes. What I have for viewers is to treat people as people. People who use drugs as human beings, they are people. Like I said, we are treated all categories of people. By virtue of our work, we don't confidentiality is there and everything. But anybody that has a brain can have drug use disorder. So treat people as human beings. Don't stigmatize them. Don't discriminate against them. Make sure that we get more into things that can help them. Well, when you see them, they have problems. Don't emphasize their problem. Rather, emphasize solution to their problem. And that's where we come in as network. We are here to help, both in the treatment and in the prevention, in the sensitization, in the training, every area of even research we do. But you can bring them to our center, and if you want to train as a professional, we are here to also help.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, viewers, for your time. Thank you for your audience. Right now, we've come to the end of our program. We hope to see you next time, next year, in another good episode of International Day for Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, there's a question. All right.
Viewers. Okay.
All right. It says, please, I want doctor to tell us how to avoid drug abuse. All right. Now, how to avoid it is a whole lot, because the truth of the matter is that it's not what we need to when people get into it. But one of the ways to avoid drug abuse is to make sure that, drug use problem is a developmental problem. What do you mean by developmental problem? People have these problems at different stages of their life. When we're in primary school, make sure that people enroll in schools, we get the best of treatment and training that makes them stay in school. Yeah. Are you getting me now? They look forward to the future and so on and so forth. When they get to secondary school, when they get to the stage in which they're having to choose their career, you are there for them. They choose their life partners, you are there for them. When people have challenges, they should rather go to the hospitals. So they should go to the hospitals rather than self-medicate. People can have mental health challenges, low mood, and all those kind of things. You see the professionals. That's one of it. Sorry, please. So that's one of the ways to avoid.
Sorry.
That's one of the ways to avoid drug abuse. Sorry, please.
The weather is too harsh. It's cold. The rain all through the week.
And I have the allergy actually.
Sorry for that.
Alright, sorry.
Sorry, viewers.
So that's one of the ways to avoid drug abuse.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I have someone is asking that they've heard about this recovery coaching course. They want to know where is the venue for this coaching course, and they want to know if some of them are outside just there and they want to be part of it. How can they be part of this?
Alright, for people who are in just,
can they join online?
you can join online. We are going to, anybody that registers, we are going to send the Zoom link to the person so that they can join online. And we are going to engage them. We have done trainings like that many times, in which we have the live audience and we also have people who are joining from different parts of the world. So we'll be able to, but it's the same field
Okay.
that
Applies to
applies
them
to
all.
them. Yes.
That's check your visual.
Thank you very much.
So viewers, thank you so much.
And in Jos is 6th Avenue, Federal Road Coast.
Okay. I hope you heard him in 6th Avenue, Federal Road Coast, just. So make it a date with us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. We hope that you're going to be part of those ones that are going to fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry about that. Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. All right. How are you? Well done. Well, on Friday, I think we should start our publicity. On Friday.
Five people come. I don't know where you Yeah. My boycotting process.